On Wednesday, Auburn police got news they were hoping for.
It was shocking. It was a surprise to all of us and really just thrilled.
Police say 21-year-old Jacqueline Perez, who went missing from her Auburn apartment more than a week ago, was found alive in Mexico. Perez is 6 weeks pregnant. Police say Mexican authorities found her in the past few days.
We were able to speak with her since she's been found, and she did confirm to us that she was in fact kidnapped and taken by gunpoint, which is what we believed was to happen.
Auburn police believe multiple people kidnapped Perez from her apartment on the evening of October 13th. Police say her husband arrived home around 20 minutes later, and they haven't ruled out the possibility he was involved as they continue the investigation.
He didn't call us until Monday morning, so she was taken Sunday the 13th between 6 and 7 p.m., and then he didn't call us until I think 7 a.m. or so the next morning.
Police say her kidnappers released her in Mexico. They do not yet know why. Perez had only lived in Auburn for 4 months and is originally from Guatemala.
The Mexican government and the Guatemalan government then talked to each other and communicated, and were able to get her back to her home in Guatemala. So she is okay and well.
Police believe illegal activity led to Perez being kidnapped.
We believe there was some sort of illegal activity happening that led to this that she was not involved in. So she just was kind of caught up in it.
A 24-year-old man was arrested in Houston, Texas this week in connection with her kidnapping, but police are still searching for more suspects.
There is a lot to still go over, but the good news is, the great news is that she was found and that she is safe.
The suspect who was arrested in Houston will be extradited back here to Washington, Joyce.
And even though we know that Perez is safe, which is great news, it does seem this investigation's far from being over, Connor.
That's right, Joyce. Police would not say today what type of illegal activity they believe led to her kidnapping. Police say this investigation is ongoing. Back to you.
Connor, thank you.
Kent man is facing 2 counts of attempted kidnapping after allegedly using a stuffed animal to lure kids into his car. Police say it happened on Mercer Island back on June 5th. Court documents say the 38-year-old man drove up to 2 kids and reportedly held a stuffed panda out of his window, telling the kids to come get the stuffed animal. Well, both kids reportedly ran to their mother, who called police to report what happened. Bellevue police found and arrested the suspect August 18th. He's in the King County Jail on $100,000 bail. He's set to face a judge next week.
An ordinary summer night, an ice cream truck rolls into a neighborhood.
The kids went to get the ice cream.
Of course the kids raced outside, but little did anyone know trouble wasn't far behind.
Production in progress 5 ago in the Meridian Green apartments.
I thought he wasn't a stranger at all, like he was a normal person. He gave the toys to the kids, and then he was like, I think, pretending that he isn't a stranger or something.
Shortly after 8:15 Tuesday night, Kent police say a man tried kidnapping a 6-year-old girl.
Yeah.
16-year-old Noor's little cousin.
They were really shocked that, like, what was happening, what happened, like, why did it happen?
According to Kent police, when that ice cream truck pulled into Meridian Green townhomes, the kids naturally followed. That's also when they say a stranger grabbed the 6-year-old by the wrist.
Was picking up small girls who started screaming.
The very thing that drew the kids outside may well have been a blessing. Cops say 3 11-year-old girls, also on their way to get treats, confronted the man, begging him to let the girl go. They started recording on their phones, persisted until he let her go, and they pulled her to safety.
They did the right thing, and they should always do that.
The suspect ran off, but police caught up.
Looks like he might have defensive scratch marks on his arms.
All of the kids safe. Proof that see something, say something works.
Grateful for the people who called the police and caught the guy. Yeah, I didn't thought that he was that kind of person.
In the end, a cautionary tale for every family.
Looks like we're probably going to have PC for abduction.
The suspect was taken to jail. He has not yet been formally charged. We expect that could happen in the next couple of days. In Kent, Jim Nelson, King 5 News.
Well, this apartment complex has signs warning people to not come on the property, but in this case, police say the danger was already inside. The suspect lives here, and police say it was 3 young girls who took action.
Hey. Yes. Is she related to you?
A moment of bravery.
Are you related to him?
Yeah.
No, you're not. She just said no. Stop. Walk away.
This is not what this trio of friends expected to happen on a summer evening 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we were all just playing outside, like sports and stuff. And then the ice cream truck came, so we wanted ice cream.
That's when their typical day in Kent took a turn.
That's when we saw the little girl and the man.
Her brother said that he was gonna go get candy, but he only wanted her to go. So then that's when we kind of got suspicious.
13-year-old Esme says that's when she and her 11-year-old friends started questioning the man.
I was scared of the things that could happen to the poor little girl, so I just wanted to get her out of there.
The man who was walking away holding the wrist of a 6-year-old girl.
He cussed at me and told me to walk away.
The girls say the man who lives in the complex started speed walking away and they started following and recording.
We decided to walk her home because, I highly doubt she knew what was going on.
That's when Esme's mom called police who arrested the man. Today in court, 40-year-old Hadar Muhammad pleaded not guilty to criminal charges, while prosecutors said he is dangerous and had scratch marks from the girl and that he brought her more than 100 yards away. The defense said he has lived there for 3 years and frequently offers kids toys and candy. The suspect told police he had asked the girl for help with his prayer beads. The judge set bail at $200,000, and if he makes bail, he is allowed to return home to the complex.
After all that, how are you going to let him live here again?
In court, Muhammad had a translator, and the defense argued his English is poor, which they claim made the situation worse.
He does speak English. He was cussing at us in English.
Esme says she's glad they recorded the video.
It's big evidence now, so.
But she is even more proud that they took action and hopes others would do the same.
Imagine what could have happened to that little girl if we stayed back, you know? That's what I don't want to think about.
In Kent,
because that's scary.
Connor Board, King 5 News.
A busy day for the state ferries.
Hello.
Hey there.
What can I get for you?
Often means a busy day right here at this corner shop, steps away from the Kingston Ferry Terminal.
There's always a pretty bad ferry backup up here too, but we do have a good view of it.
Kiwi Sullivan hears about it from customers.
They definitely share some frustrations about the ferries.
The latest concern is the possibility of longer wait times due to a large ferry out of service for up to 4 weeks.
The Suquamish is being pulled from its route for much needed maintenance and an engine overhaul.
Washington State Ferries says it's scheduled maintenance for the vessel. While the ferry is out, they're working around it.
It's like checkers. We're moving things around. We're trying to put boats where they need to go.
It was on the ferry website.
Ferry riders like Kathy are already planning for the changes. It will impact the Mukilteo-Clinton route with a smaller vessel carrying 34 less cars than normal. And the ferry going between Kingston and Edmonds will carry 20 less vehicles.
Actually, not that big of a reduction. They've had some really small boats on Edmonds Run in the past.
As a regular on this route, she's seen worse.
We've had to wait 4 hours at one time, but that was only once.
And she understands why the maintenance is needed now.
They don't have any extra boats, so they need to keep them up to date somehow.
Even though there might be some delays, they're working hard to keep those boats going back and forth as much as possible.
236 is your change.
Back on this corner in Kingston,
A lot of people that live here just commute to the other side.
they know how crucial it is. Now, Memorial Day weekend was busy with 300,000 ferry riders. I'm told typically after the holiday, that ridership dips down until summer travel season really kicks in. That's part of the reason why the scheduled maintenance is starting today. Joyce?
And how many vessels, Natalie, does the Washington State Ferries have in its fleet?
It has 21 in its fleet, but there are some out for maintenance right now. They have 15 vessels that they're operating on. Joyce?
All right, so definitely some out of commission. Thank you, Natalie Swaby, reporting live in Edmonds.
We don't know yet what caused the mechanical failure on the Walla Walla. It is one of the older vessels, and some say this is a clear indication that we need to invest in a new fleet.
We'll get to the bottom of it. It is a strange one, and of course we're all very curious to see what happened.
What happened to cause a mechanical failure aboard the Walla Walla Saturday evening?
You can imagine what it was like for that captain and crew to all of a sudden realize that they no longer had control of that vessel as far as steering.
The vessel was grounded near Bainbridge Island, and while no one was hurt,
There was folks that were stuck for 4, sometimes 6 hours or more on board that boat.
divers have completed an initial inspection showing the 50-year-old Walla Walla did not sustain severe damage.
The circumstances, I mean, that's, I think, a function of the age of the vessel about why it to stop working.
Lawmakers like Representative Jake Nye says that's why House Bill 1846 is so important. It would open the initial bidding process to other states.
In the current law, we provide it's a national bid. There's a 13% advantage to take into account the advantages of building it here and the jobs that are created.
We hate to see these boats and the jobs go to other states, so we'll do our level best to compete as best we can with the bill.
Jeff DeVere represents Nichols Brothers Boat Builders on Whidbey Island and says it's hard to compete with states that don't have the wage, health, and environmental protections required in Washington.
These boats represent a lot of jobs in the Puget Sound, a lot of economic benefits.
With a shrinking and aging fleet, one thing is certain: Washington needs new vessels.
And it takes several years to build a boat, and we've yet to drive a rivet or a screw. That's coming, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Now, House Bill 1846 has passed through the House and the Senate. If the House agrees on the amendments, it'll then head to the governor's desk. Live here in Seattle, I'm Kristen Goodwillie, King 5 News.
Or does he mean it's very chilly?
Melissa Pietrosanti and her family are visiting Seattle from Portland.
Is that a bad dad joke?
And a ferry ride to Vashon Island was high on their to-do list.
I think it's fantastic. It's vital to people that live in the area for work and pleasure.
Besides being a critical link for people living on both sides of the Sound, the ferry system is also a big tourist attraction, helping lure visitors back. But not all of them can count on a smooth trip. The Vashon route is one of several impacted by an ongoing shortage of ferry crew members, causing delays and cancellations.
The disruptions are widespread this weekend, stretching from the San Juan Islands to Point Defiance in Tacoma.
Washington State Ferries says passengers should plan for longer waits. Quote, "We apologize for the inconvenience and appreciate your patience and understanding as Washington State Ferries works to maintain as much service as possible."
It was probably like 35, 45 minutes that we waited.
Kate Vallis is visiting from Utah and did not mind the delay.
Every time you come to Washington, you got to take a ride on the ferry.
The ferry system says some travelers to the San Juan Islands are learning their vehicle reservations are canceled and standby spots are very limited.
I am not sure what that noise is.
On this voyage, Pietrosanti got lucky.
It's probably something to do with how the ferries run, huh? It was so smooth. I didn't even check the schedule. Normally I kind of stress about that and screen grab the times, and we pulled up 8 minutes before and just went right on.
Ted Land, King 5 News.
Here we are finding ourselves yet again on the outside, looking in, hoping to make it to the playoffs. Again, just 4 games to go. They're going to have to go in as a wild card seed if they want to make the playoffs, and chances are slim this morning, according to Fangraphs. The Mariners have a 2.7% chance of making the playoffs. So a shred of hope. Just for fun, we wanted to see what the odds are of winning the World Series. 0.1%, according to Fangraphs. We wanted to see what the ESPN Seattle sports guys had to say about where the M's stand this morning. I went to their studio to talk to Mike Salk from Brock and Salk about what went wrong. There's a lot of promise, they said, throughout the season that the playoffs would happen, and Mike points to a few critical series that fell apart for the M's. Most importantly, the Tigers series, the Royals series, when the team was in command, but we just blew it in the final innings.
Yeah, every game matters in that way. But the flip side of that is there have been moments during this year where they had a 10-game lead. Yeah. There have been moments where they've looked like the worst team in baseball. And here they are at the end, and everything after all the ups and downs has kind of found its even spot.
Why do the Mariners do this to us every single year?
Baseball is torture. It's not Mariners, it's baseball. Baseball is torture.
Sometimes that's the only way to put it right there.
But I kind of feel like it's the Mariners. Like last year, they brought us through this, the year before that. But it paid off when we went to the playoffs. So 2.7 is not 0.
That's true. That's some optimism. So here's the bottom line, though, for all of you waking up. The M's must win out to win the playoffs, and they have to have the Royals win no more than 1 of their final 5 games.
Thank you, baby. Thank you.
Fans so loyal.
Good job, kid. Good job. We need you.
They've spent 2 decades
go Mariners!
keeping hope
Good job!
alive. Fans so loyal, they'll stream into an empty stadium
It's perfect. How can you miss it? Are you kidding?
To watch side by side, believing this time history will be made.
Our pitching staff, and then we picked up Castillo, bullpen on lock. It's been amazing. It's been so fun to watch.
They had high hopes for this team and came in wishing for a quick win. But halfway through the game, the years of sweat and tears weren't over yet. Fans soothed nerves with brats and brews with the M's down 8-1 in the fifth. But the crowd didn't file out. They hung tight, continuing to believe and drinking in the moment of making it this far.
This is the craziest thing, and I couldn't be more happy to spend it with my brother.
And soon, in a nod to the rally hat, shoes started coming off.
I got one left.
After one fan doing it hit the Jumbotron. And along with taking on a new tradition came a turn in the game.
Oh my God.
Everyone here saw it happening. Everyone here came ready to believe. Because these fans are family.
I think that everyone here contributed to it.
And in a couple innings, that loyalty was rewarded. In Seattle, Erica Zuko, King 5 News.
So as you can imagine, this is a really big effort here. We won't really see construction starting until sometime next year, but there's a lot of behind the scenes and engineering work going on right now. So the plan is to get city power behind me here, right in front of you, from Pier 48, and then to build an underwater cable all the way to here, Terminal 1 here at Coleman Dock. Now, take a look at your screen. This is a first look at what those charging stations are going to look like. Each vessel will have a robotic arm that comes out and connects to the charge. I'm told it will take about 20 minutes while people are loading on and off. Now, Matt Von Ruden with WashDOT says they looked at multiple ways to upgrade their system and chose electrification because it's already been successfully demonstrated in other countries. He's hoping new ferries into the fleet, which is now running at 21 vessels, will help the aging system.
Well, I think we're at the right point in that. As far as the technology curve, we're not the first doing this. It's demonstrated. So taxpayers shouldn't need to worry about whether this is a risky technology. There's over 70 vessels operating around the world.
Now, the electrification program, which includes the new ferries as well as converting 6 existing vessels, will reduce emissions from Washington State ferries by over half. Now, the important thing to note is that we're in Seattle, Coleman Dock right now. It's a little bit easier to get to electricity. The focus now is on getting electricity to some of the docks in more remote parts of Western Washington. For now, reporting live in Seattle, Angelique Hockaday, King 5 News.
On a day that only Seattle would call summer.
It's no problem with the rain. They still come out for the Seahawks and the Mariners.
Mariners fans head to Soto for the team's second game under new leadership.
It matters to all of us. I mean, even with how bad the Mariners have been lately, we still coming out to support them regardless. I mean, we want better, but, we love our teams.
Fans will remember catcher Dan Wilson, who spent 12 seasons behind the plate for the Mariners during the 90s and 2000s. Today, he adjusts to his new role as manager, and so do the team's fans. Saturday also marks the first and last preseason home game for the Seahawks. Fans were already claiming their spots by mid-afternoon.
We'll know after the day what our season will be like.
Seahawks taking on the Browns. The Hawks hoping to improve on last year's 9-8 record, a season that ended with a wild card playoffs loss to the 49ers.
It's a hit and miss for the Seahawks, man. You never can tell.
How are you guys today? Hello there.
Regardless of how the teams
good.
perform, today's real winner is the food vendors.
Busy. A lot of Seattle dogs. That's what everybody likes. That's what everybody needs. So it's like stock up. Get ready for the crazy.
Hats and hot dogs selling as fast as fans can buy them.
All right, thank you.
Rain keeping no Seattle sports fan away.
End of the summer kind of thing. Need it. And it's bringing us luck, so away we go.
You guys have a good time today then.
A Mariners Seahawks doubleheader is not unheard of. It's known to happen from time to time. Looking ahead, the next big doubleheader for the city, September 27th. That's when the Mariners will approach the end of their regular season and the Kraken will start preseason play. Lots of good sports days to look ahead to. Erica.
Tonight, a lot of those community questions focused on staffing and the number of vessels in the fleet. Those questions come as 300,000 people are expected to travel by ferry this weekend. So tonight, we asked the ferry system how it's doing ahead of what's expected to be a busy summer. Washington State Ferries prepping for the fleet's peak.
Summertime is the Super Bowl for the ferry system. We carry about twice as many people in the summer months as we do in the winter months.
This comes as it's been battling staffing shortages that led to recent cancellations and reduced schedules.
There's just this worldwide shortage of trained mariners, and so that's what we're up against. So we're hiring, we're training as fast as we can, and promoting our people as quickly as we can.
The ferry system has been working to address the crew shortage by trying to get a younger generation interested and widening its recruitment nationwide. It lost 130 workers out of nearly 2,000 because of vaccine requirements in 2020. But the ferry system says the biggest impact is an aging workforce.
We need to move our mates up to captains. We need to move our able-bodied folks up to the mate positions, that type of a thing. Where we're short right now is in the deck officer position, and it takes months and years to become a deck officer.
The ferry system says it will need 100 new licensed deck officers by 2027, all because of the number of officers eligible to retire.
We've been able to restore most of those, but there are a couple of routes that are still down. That includes the Triangle route out of West Seattle, and also Port Townsend Coopville, which is a popular tourist route.
As we head into summer, the ferry system citing a boost in confidence with 95% reliability for routes that have been impacted the most, like the Anacortes San Juans and Seattle Bainbridge.
Everybody in the state of Washington owns a piece of these boats, so I say get out and enjoy them.
And go ahead and prepare for long waits this weekend with those busiest travel times kicking off on Thursday. If you do plan to travel by ferry, the ferry system suggests walking onto a ferry to avoid those long lines or leave early in the morning or late at night if possible. For now, live in Seattle, Julie Calhoun, King 5 News.
Well, how's that for a beautiful view? The ferry from Bremerton arriving at the dock here in Seattle. Going to offload and then reload with passengers once again. Now, the Washington State Ferry System not mincing words about this situation. They call it dire and say, please stick with them as they try to get everything back online. After a year at home, the sunshine is a little brighter in Seattle this Memorial Day weekend.
It's just different from like having to drive somewhere. You get to like be on the water, to travel over. It's just a fun experience.
As travel finally starts to pick up, the Washington State Ferry System is fighting to keep up. Starting tomorrow, Tuesday, the Seattle to Bremerton route will be serviced by just one vessel. That means a lot of red lines on the schedule. A system that runs 18 boats is currently down to 16.
It's a very challenging time right now. I would consider us in a dire situation. It's probably one of the worst we've seen in many, many years.
What started as damage from an engine fire on the MV Wenatchee back in April caused WSF to shuffle boats around. Today, nearly every route is impacted, running less vessels or smaller vessels. So, what does this mean for you?
Just make sure that you're planning to get there, in enough time for where, if you're time sensitive, wherever you're going, to just give yourself that extra time.
Complicating the issue, the ferry system expects holiday travel to continue through Tuesday. That holiday travel picking up here as the cars start to back up for that ride to Bremerton, right as the Mariners game is getting out, I should say. Look out for those revised ferry schedules as the new schedule goes into effect tomorrow. In Seattle, Sebastian Robertson, King 5 News.